Welcome to Life Talk with Marietta. I am Marietta. This show is about the life lessons that shape us, what I've learned, what I'm still learning, and how we grow through challenge, awareness, and purpose. I will share personal insights to motivate and inspire you, and sometimes invite guests who do the same. At its heart, Life Talk is about real stories, real growth, and meaningful connection. This is Life Talk with Marietta. Motivational, inspirational, full of heart. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to Life Talk with Marietta. I'm your host, Marietta Camera. Welcome to Inside Care with Criscuolo, President of Executive Home Care in Stratford, Connecticut. Good evening, Al, and thank you for being with us today.
Good evening, Marietta, and thank you for having me.
Great to have you. Today we're talking about a subject. What is it like to live at home with care? That's what we're going to talk about today. It's a subject that touches millions of families across the country caring for an aging parent at home. What often begins as simply helping mom or dad can quietly grow into a responsibility that changes every part of an adult child's life. Many caregivers tell us they never expected the physical, emotional, and mental demands that comes with caring for someone they love. They often feel overwhelmed, isolated, and unsure where to turn for help. So in today's program, we'll explore 4 important topics. Nobody told me I was taking on 10 jobs. What really happens when an adult child suddenly becomes the caregiver. In segment 2, the guilt nobody talks about. The emotional burden caregiver carries every day and why so many feel they're never doing enough. Now, in segment 3, recognizing the breaking point. That's very, very important. How to recognize the warning signs of caregivers. The burnout before a crisis develops. And in final segment 4, you don't have to carry it alone. How families can find support while helping their loved one remain safe, independent, and living at home. So we hope today's conversation brings encouragement, practical information, and reassurance to every family walking this journey. Let's get started. You're tuned in to Life Talk with Marietta. I am Marietta. Okay, we got a lot of work ahead of us. So, segment 1. Nobody told me I was taking on 10 jobs. How so? So, Al, I've been listening to adult children caring for their parents on TikTok. It was very, very interesting. And one thing keeps coming up over and over again, that nobody tells you that caring for mom or dad becomes 10 different jobs. What do they mean by that?
Well, Marietta, 10 is a relative number if you really want to know the truth. From my perspective, 10 could be 5, it could be 100. And what literally happens is we're not prepared for when the event occurs. We show up, we might think things are a little unorganized, things are a little out of place, and then we check the mail and there's things showing up in the mail we don't expect. There's things showing up in the mail that we should not be seeing. There's late notices coming through. There's delinquent phone calls being left on answering machines, as some of the elderly folks still have house phones. Things don't look as they're kept anymore. So now you have to start being having conversations with a parent that are not comfortable. So you're trying to figure out what and how to approach it. There's all different avenues that need to be explored. Sometimes there's relationships between families that are not able to be easily discussed between siblings, parents, and the alike. So 10 is definitely a number you could talk through. It's definitely not necessarily one for one. So that's where agencies like Executive Home Care get involved, because we'll get a phone call that says, we're not really sure what's going on. I was just with my parents this weekend. I was talking to them on the phone. We're going to go see them next weekend. But what is it that executive home care could do for my parents. I heard non-medical home care agencies do this on a frequent basis. So those help me decide whether there's 100 different avenues that need to be explored, talked through, or there's maybe one or two that we can start with quickly that help start to alleviate the burden on the siblings, the parents themselves, and the child.
Right. I remember this one caregiver. She said, I'm a driver now, a medication manager, appointment scheduler, insurance coordinator, housekeeper, a grocery shopper, a cook, a financial helper, an advocate with doctors, and a decision maker. I have to, and sometimes a voice for my mother or for my father. That was in one statement of a caregiver in the video. And if I didn't have it all spelled out, which I did here for our purpose, we don't just think about it. We don't think about all of this if I don't have it listed, if I don't see it with my own eyes. Oh, you're just helping. But all the various areas that you have to do besides your own job. We're talking about adult children now, adult children caring for their parents or for their loved one. And we have Al Criscuolo with us. He's the president of Executive Home Care out of Stratford. So it really adds up very quickly, all the areas of where they're getting involved in. Let me go to the next question, Al.
Mary, if I could just throw one
Yes,
more additional
I'm
point.
sorry if I interrupted you. Sorry about that.
Not at all. Not at all. Sometimes the adult child that has to become the advisor and oversight for the family member are not necessarily qualified. They're not able to do what needs to get done. So in turn, frustration escalates. They're not able to get the right information, making a doctor's appointment, ordering prescriptions for family members. We all know what it takes every day, and it's incredibly difficult if you don't have every single bit of information to be able to do that. So part of it is, how do you become that detective to know all the answers if you were never privy to them over time? So, yes, there is all different kinds of things, but there's also all different kinds of obstacles that have to be overcome. And not everybody's always prepared for how to handle that.
Right. So many caregivers also say, I'm constantly worrying even when I'm not with my parent, because caregiving just doesn't end when I walk out the door. Al?
It doesn't. It doesn't end. And sometimes it has to be navigated twice, 2 or 3 times. And you have to have a willing recipient on the care team to be able to do that. Clients don't necessarily want it. When we talk about how do you become that value to your family member, and sometimes it takes more than just having a conversation that says, Dad, Mom, I'll help. Because that brings with it a tremendous burden to the mom or dad. Now they have to feel inferior. They don't feel like they're in control. They don't feel like they can control. So how do you, as the sibling, the parent, the child, learn to say, this isn't about taking anything from you. This is about helping solve a situation that just needs to be handled. Nobody's taking your independence. You could do an entire segment on independence and what that means, and the impact of taking someone's independence away, depending on who they are and what they did as a career and how they were raised and how they raised you as the son or daughter, is incredibly impactful. So having the capabilities of understanding what that means and how to approach it can change all the dynamics, either positively or negatively, on the turn of a pin. So we have to think about how do we approach it. And if you're willing to do it, it gets received differently. If it's becoming a burden to you, it gets received very differently to the person you're trying to help.
Hmm. Al, if I was a caretaker, my mom, dad, unfortunately, they're no longer alive, but if I was a caretaker, I would really worry about did they leave the stove on? Because that is something that happens all the time. And even now, even with myself, I double check myself all the time because there's certain worries that I have, certain triggers that I have. Did I turn the iron off or the air conditioning? I don't like to leave any electrical things on when I leave the house. And this is something I would really worry as a caretaker if I knew my loved one is alone at home, let's just say. Or did mom take her medication? So how do you handle that um, at your agency in with your services?
Well,
How do
I'm
you
going to
focus
address,
on that?
yeah, I'm just going to address that last one, medication.
Mhm.
It is one of the number one priorities that are asked of our agency as a service to be provided. And the way we address that is we can do what we call medication reminders. And I won't belabor this too much, but this is one of the number one areas that people call for help. My mom can't remember to take their meds. My dad says he takes them, but we're never really sure if he took them. Do you guys help? And so, as you know, you can go into any drugstore, go online. They have pill boxes, and they're set up for everything from morning, night to morning, noon, afternoon, evening. And the only thing we are able to do from a licensure and from a care perspective is remind the client to take their pills. So that means if there's another skilled agency in there that, that has a nurse, then they will absolutely be able to pre-pour is the magic word, pre-pour the medications, put them into the appropriate slots. And if mom and dad are still pretty good, they'll know to take their pills. If executive home care's team is in there, we'll remind mom or dad as our client, here's your medication. They take it out of the box, they put it in their mouth, and they ingest it, which is one of the key priorities that keep people safe at home. So just addressing that, that is one of the number one things we do. Personal hygiene is another immediate focus within our agency, keeping people clean, keeping their bodies clean, making them feel that they are appropriate, right? There's no body odors, there's no incontinence issues because they are getting cleaned and they are getting taken care of. So just to focus on that's where our agency steps in. We do a sundry of services. We do everything around ADLs, activities of daily living, all the personal care, but then we do the extra things. The caregivers are trained to do light housekeeping. They'll make meals. They're able to provide what I consider 50% of all the care plans, companionship. Being able to associate and connect with your client. Talk about whatever interests they have. Talk about you as an individual, where you come from, what do you do? You're not just a human being showing up in someone's home. You might have a family, you might live local, you might have things that are direct relationships to the client that help them feel connected with you as a person, but also understanding they now feel more receptive to wanting to share their own personal experiences with you as well.
Mhm. Another caregiver said, I have two full-time jobs. One pays me, the other one begins when I get home, he said. Is that becoming a new reality for many families, Al?
Absolutely, Marietta. There is the word downtime. People literally have to plan downtime because if you work all day You might work locally in the town you live in. You might commute within the state you live in. You might travel outside of the state you live in. And then when you get home, you've got to be worried about what's going on in another dwelling if they don't live with you. And even if they live with you, you need to be able to understand where they are. So many people have cameras in the house. Many people use security protective alerts on the person themselves that they can use in the event something happens. But when you get home, you might have to stop over and make sure that they've eaten. You might want to have to stop over and make sure they took their meds. You might have to stop over and make sure that they're just plain old safe. The refrigerator door is closed. The front door is closed. That there's no things that look like something might have happened throughout the day that could cause a trip or a fall. So those are where family members have to constantly be thinking about what next is. And what next is hard when you might have your own kids, you might have your own spouse, partner, whatever the situation is, but now you've got this whole other list of tasks and activities to be checked on and ensure they're okay. And I'll just leave it with this. The real issue becomes, what do you do when they're not okay? You get there, it looks like maybe they didn't take their meds. You get there and it looks like they might not have eaten. You get there and you look in the laundry basket and it doesn't look like anybody showered in the last day. So those are now the what ifs. What do you do now? Who do you call? You approach them, they're probably going to tell you, oh, I'm all set, I showered. Or, I feel okay, but you can look at them and they don't look okay. And those are the areas where we as an agency immediately step in. We step in for all the reasons. One is we can do that for you throughout the day. We document on our care notes. We have a narrative component within each of our care notes. And we take that burden and responsibility away while still maintaining all the independence, all the personal ownership of families. And we take the tasks and the activities that distract the family from being a family again, because they're worried about all the things that have to get done that would normally be done by a person themselves.
So what is your message? What would be your message to every adult child that are watching today and that are overwhelmed carrying those jobs? What would you tell them, Al?
Well, first, they're not alone. Second, there is help and support for all of those overwhelming tasks that maybe you want to do, you can't. You just don't want to do them anyway, so you need to figure out who could. And that's where agencies like Executive Home Care will come out. We do consultative discussions. We do them in person. We'll have a conversation on the phone. We have an office we can meet in to talk with family members if they don't feel comfortable having their loved ones present while they're deciding what next looks like. And that's what we're here for. We're not intrusive. We're not asking for your name, address, phone number, date of birth. Like, when you're ready to do that, we're ready to take it. But call. Just pick up the phone, send an email, text. What are you thinking? What are you worried about? And what is keeping you up at night when you try to go to bed? Or, worst scenario, something occurs and now you're not sure what the solution is to make it right. So overall, my general response to that is give us a call. Let us know what's going on and we'll do what we can to make it better.
Thank you, Al. I want to get right into segment 2, which talks about guilt. All of the people that I watched, they felt tremendously guilty. They said, no matter what I do, I always feel guilty. If they stay with mom, they feel guilty about neglecting their husband, the wife, or children. If they spend time with their own family, they feel guilty about leaving mom alone. Why is there such big guilt, which is part of caregiving? Why is that, Al?
Well, that's an individual situation that is very common. One, they're your parents or they're your grandparents, and maybe they raised you as grandparents. If they're your parents, they obviously were a big influencer, and now they need help. And as a good-hearted person or somebody that believes to do the right thing, they carry that guilt. I have to go check on mom. I've got to make sure dad's eating. I wonder if they've done the laundry. Did they cut the lawn? Is there anything going on that we should be able to do to help solve it? And then you've got your own family, whether you have children, you don't have children, you have a partner, you have a spouse, whatever the situation is. Now you're being pulled from whatever free time you were generating away from somebody else to go help take care of your family. And that is a very big burden, because some families don't all believe and can agree at the same level. So they feel like, why are you doing it and not your brother or sister? Why are you not staying with us? They'll be fine by themselves. And that's where communication, Mariette, has to be the number one priority. One, the person that you're helping needs to understand and be assured that you'll make them safe and you'll do what you can, but you'll also have to own what the future looks like. You cannot necessarily keep up with a pace that if something happens, i.e., you slip, fall, you get hurt, you're not just checking on them anymore. Now they're either in the hospital, they're sent over to a rehab center, and now you're trying to manage that, which some people are very good at self-managing their care, irrespective of their age. The difference is some are not. And that's where guilt just eats away at people, because you're out there trying to do your life, but you know in the back of your head something might be going on and nobody's there for the what if. So that's, again, executive home care can fill that gap. We have many clients that Monday through Friday were involved, no matter how many hours we're there, because on weekends, the siblings, the children are available. They're not working all week. They can step in. And so we take that burden of, I don't want to give up on my mom and dad because they raised me and now it's my chance to help them. But you also have to be true to yourself and you have to be true to your family, that you can't be there every time, all the time. So make accommodations where they still feel independent, they've got somebody helping them out, and they're not a burden. The minute an elderly person or a person in general feels like a burden, it changes all the dynamics within the family.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that general piece, right? You've got the general piece of who's doing more. If you've got multiple siblings, how do you deviate the responsibility? So it's definitely something that happens every day. Some families are much better at it than others.
Right. That was one of the complaints almost in every video, that my brothers and sisters say they would help, but it just stayed right with that one person. And that was a lot of anger I saw. And everything we're talking about today that I'm bringing up, I saw the TikTok videos. They're done very professional. I'm also on TikTok, so I learned a lot what these adult children are going through. But let me ask you this, Al. You have about 130 employees. Now, the caregivers, do they ever relax? Can caregivers ever relax? How do they relax? It might be a silly question, but I'm going to ask you. How can they relax?
So caregivers have to manage their time as well. When they're scheduled to work, they're scheduled to work. And we expect them to be there, to be on point, to be prepared. And when they're not, they've got to figure out within their own life, how do they do that? Because our expectations are that when you come to work, you're there to perform a job that has been agreed upon. And that is exactly what we expect of you. So They will schedule their time off. They will schedule time away. We do in our agency give PTO, personal time off. So I am very comfortable that when people are away, they're away and they get a break and they're able to do what they need to do. And when they're not, they're ready to work and perform the services that we have agreed upon for our clients.
Okay. Now, getting back to the guilt, Al, people are always looking for answers. Do we have a little advice for the people, just to give them something? I think that's very, very important.
I think advice to a family member and advice to a caregiver
Hmm.
are very similar. One, you have to self-manage how you work every day and how you take care of people every day. And everybody should take a pause, take a break, think about what's important to them, but then think about what is it they're trying to solve and achieve. And once you do that, you then can take a step back and say, I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready to be engaged, because we require our caregivers to be fully engaged and be available to not only help, but to be assertive and guide and direct all the care that is in place at the time you're scheduled to work. So it's important to have that autonomy, but also the professional guidance to do what needs to get done. And if we're talking about our clients, I'll give you a real example. Dementia at all the levels, whether it's onset early or whether it's advanced, is very, very difficult for anyone to be able to navigate. It changes your personality, it changes your relationship. There's so many aspects to dementia that you have to think about, and frustration is probably the biggest thing that comes in. I tell every one of our clients and family members, when you're there, take a break, leave, go do something. That's why we're there. Years back, you went to work, your spouse went to work, some stayed home, some traveled, whatever. That's why we're there. We're there to give a relationship the peace that it needs to continue building and continue fostering. And if you never take a break for yourself, you're going to become incredibly resentful on life. And so right in our care plans, when we're there, the spouse will leave, go do their thing, whether it's you're taking lunch with friends, you're doing an exercise program, you're going to go shopping, whatever it is. That's why you hired us. You hired us to be that component that is an extension of you. And now you have an opportunity to go do what you need to do and not feel guilty. Guilt is such a horrible situation in every one of these relationships that we come involved with as a team member in the care that we provide.
That's right. And I made a couple of notes for myself, and I'd like to share it. Love doesn't require perfection. You don't have to carry every burden alone. So sometimes asking for help isn't giving up. It's giving yourself the strength to continue caring with patience and compassion. I made these footnotes, and I think that's how it is. We can't do it alone, Al. It's impossible.
Well,
It's too much. It really is.
and it's human nature to want to take care of people, whether
Yeah.
it's a job that, like our caregivers, have either become professionally trained in as CNAs and home health aides, but it's also family members, right? We feel obligated to help
Mhm.
when we know one of our family members can no longer do it. And that's okay. But what we all need to remember in the journey of life is we're not there to take anything away. We're there as agencies in this industry to help do the things that will take tasks away so that you can continue to focus on being a family, being a married couple, whatever that is, being a sibling, whether there's two or three of you to your parents. And when someone's trying to do the laundry and someone's picking up the prescriptions and someone's trying to clean the house, and so it becomes a tug of war of, well, I just did this and why didn't you do that? And that's where we can step in. We take those tasks away and we make it a very fluid process where we're doing the things that were hindering the relationship, and now you can go back to having a relationship.
Right. Al, you know what comes to mind? Remember when we had our first child, when you had your first child with your wife, and I had my first child with my husband, how critical and how protective we were, who we let close to our child, or who we left the child with. Remember those feelings, these protective feelings? Nobody can do it the way we do it. Nobody cares the way we do. Remember those feelings?
Well, I will tell you, Mariette, before I acquired this agency and made this purchase, I traveled Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday. So as a new dad and as a father that wanted to be involved, it's incredibly burdensome because I wasn't home Monday through Thursday. And what I learned in that is, in the profession that I was in, and the career that I had, and the position I held, I was able to dictate when and where I was going to be. So I didn't miss those key things. But I attended parent conferences, I attended sports when it was important, but I wasn't there every night to put the kids to bed, right? So you take that burden and you carry it. Hopefully, you rationalize it with, well, I'm providing for our family and I'm going to provide the best I can. And then that provides a very big relief to not only your children and your family, but to you, because now everybody understands who's got what responsibility. But I have shared that guilt for years until here I am, right? Now I'm home every night, or, at least in the state every night, which is a huge plus. But I'm able to do that for all these families that can't be there at 6 o'clock to help mom or dad have dinner. But we'll put a caregiver in 6 to 9, 6 to 10. And then guess what? When you do get there at 6, 7, 8 o'clock, you spend time with your mom and dad instead of feeling like, you let them go hungry until you got there, or did they take their medicine? So it's all in how you manage and communicate expectations. And it doesn't go just one way. It's both ways. Expectations have to be agreed upon, and it can't just be insinuated.
Right. Now, many adult children tell us, I kept telling myself I could handle it, I can handle it. And then one day they realized they couldn't do it anymore. Where I can totally understand where you're so protective of your loved one and you don't want any outsider coming in, and you try and you do. And then you realize you can't do it anymore. And I'm just placing myself in the position, if, with my daughter, I have an adult daughter, Heidi, she's 57. And it's very easy for me to place myself into that. And but when you can't do it anymore for whatever reason, you got to reach out for help, Al.
Well, what I think it comes down to is, and I tell this to everybody gets the same story from me. We're helping, we're not taking away. And the last thing you want to do to any person, I don't care how old they are, is take away their independence. But also, I use the word value. If a person has no value in themselves, what value do they want? And what purpose do they serve in the society we live in? So it's really important that people retain their independence, but they also have a value to get up every morning and to do stuff. And, Mariette, if I haven't learned one thing in the going on 16 months that I've owned executive home care, is when we go out and I develop a plan of care or a family member sends in a plan of care that they've drafted, if that plan of care doesn't have directional effort towards regaining independence, I'm not going to submit it into our system because I am going to modify it. I'm going to talk with the family. I'm going to talk with the individual and say, we need to have an objective that works towards regaining independence, because otherwise, what purpose does the person have to get up every day? What reason do they have to get up and be part of society and the day in the life of where they live? So it's really important that family members understand that it's not about doing it for them. We're doing it to help them regain where they want to be as an individual. And that doesn't always resonate from the beginning because people say, well, they're older, they can't. I've got 98-year-old clients that we take care of that our minimal effort just keeps them safe. We've got 65-year-old clients that have very debilitated, compromised situations, and they also need help, but the goal is not forever. And that's kind of the motto executive home care works under, is we're not there for life, but if we're there, we're going to do what we're intended to do as an agency.
Mm. There's one caregiver said, I don't even recognize myself anymore. And this is what she said. She said she was becoming impatient, forgetful, and emotionally drained. So my question is, can caregiving actually change who we are? Is that possible?
Absolutely.
When somebody's impatient, they're impatient, period. Or they have a very low threshold. But emotionally drained, that I can see. So when you're in a situation where it emotionally drains you, that's automatic. You become impatient. And then you can't handle it anymore. So I can really understand that. I can understand the words. But what do you say to that?
So, two things to start off with. Take a pause. First off, take a pause. Think about what you're really trying to do. And if all you're trying to do is take care of somebody, great. If what you should be thinking about is, what is the goal in the situation we're in? Now, some things you just don't have any control over. Someone has a stroke today. There are so many modern technology advancements out there to help them regain, but some of those things just get lost. And you really have to come up with, what is the purpose and what's the plan that we're doing today? And if we don't answer that honestly and everyone agree who's in the team, we're all going to be doing something that's not going to benefit everyone. And that's where I always say, let us do our role, you do your role, and guess what? It's not for life. This care plan, this approach, this discussion, we're going to have again in a week or two when you're ready to have another conversation, because things change, Marietta. They change all the time. And our care plans are not stagnant. They are living, breathing documents. And maybe this week you can help out more and you want to. Maybe next week you can't help out more. So we do need to pick up those areas a little bit more. Doesn't mean we change the schedule week over week. What it means is when you're there, you continue to be the son or daughter, the wife or the husband, but we'll do it with you. And then some weeks you might not want us there at all. I mean, we have clients that we come in as live-ins, meaning a live-in's there 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. They work 13 hours of the day, but they're in the home full time to help. And we'll have some family members push back after a while and say, he or she is stable at night. We don't really need somebody here. We just need him here during the day. And so then what we do is we take the live-in out, we put in a 10, 12-hour shift, and now they're getting back to a baseline because we were there in the evenings for safety. If something happened, somebody was there to help. They were bedbound or whatever the issue was, and now they don't need that help. They sleep through the night. They can use a commode next to their bed. So we always, as an agency, are always constantly trying to create a solution that will help gain independence and bring people back to their full life to the extent they can.
Well, you know, caregivers have said they postponed doctor's appointments, stopped exercising, wasn't sleeping, and wasn't eating properly. How common is that? How common is that they put their parents' needs always first and put themselves last?
There's 24 hours in a day, and it happens all the time because they get out of work, they've got to stop, they have to pick up a prescription, they've got to figure out food, they've got their own kids, their own family to deal with, and then before you know it, it's late. And late can be defined as anything. I'm not going to put an hour next to it. And they just don't feel like doing it anymore. They can't keep their routine up. They're not able to build additional time or capacity. So they let those things go. And I think more commonly than not here is, I'll do it later. I'll do it when things get easier. I'll do it when we're not so chaotic and we're unsure. And the issue really comes down to is you have to make time for yourself. If you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to help somebody else that needs help. And that's hard sometimes, and you feel like, well, I should be there every minute. I always like to say, were you there every minute before? Like, yeah, I know mom and dad need help, but if you weren't there every minute before, then still maintain the life you have. Let an agency like Executive Home Care fill that gap, and then you continue to live the life. And nobody feels guilty, nobody feels burdened, and everybody feels that there is a new norm. And the new norm, hopefully, is something that everybody is comfortable with, and everybody's still getting out of life what they intended to, because guilt breeds resentment, resentment breeds anger, and nobody benefits when that happens within a family.
That's right. Everyone needs rest. Wanting a break does not mean you love your parents less. So when somebody secretly wishes that they could just have somebody to take over for a week, it's okay to feel that way. It's human. Yeah. Taking time to recharge often allows you to return with more patience, compassion, and energy. This is what I say. My note.
And there's a couple that
go
you
ahead.
should do. Yeah, there's a couple of things you should do. Is everybody agree on what there is to be done, and then everybody in the family, and everybody doesn't mean it's 50, 10, 1, 5. It's who's ever going to be part of that caregiving approach, delivery process. And then from there, you truly just move into what next is. And yes, we might want mom or dad to be back to walking, talking, driving, but that's not reality. And we have to work to, it's okay that you can't walk, talk, drive, climb stairs, whatever, but you could still do X. And I'll give you one very short example, but the reason I own this agency, which we've talked about, is I lost a mother to a glioblastoma brain tumor. And my 9-year-old daughter, 10-year-old daughter, would feel like every time we went out, it was an entourage. We had a caregiver, we had a wheelchair, we had my father, we had my kids, and my daughter made a very valid point. Like when we go out, Dad, it's like a tribe of people because we've got grandma. And I said, yeah, you're right, we do. And that's just part of life. It wasn't her resenting it. She was just an observation from a child perspective that is real. And those things you have to listen to. You have to listen to each other. You have to agree if you're frustrated. You have to agree if it's not working. But hopefully, what you get to in those conversations is we agree we're okay. And we all have our part and we all have our point. So that's kind of what I say to everybody. Look, it's a new norm, but it doesn't have to be an unhappy one. It just has to be a new norm and we learn to live with it.
Yes, Al. And after everything we've talked about today, the 10 jobs, the guilt in reaching breaking point, I think many people watching may feel like they're carrying the weight of the world. Is there another way? There should be another way.
There is. And I don't want to discredit carrying the weight of the world because it is true. That is one of the things that now you're responsible for, but you don't have to be. And that's what I always tell people. You don't have to be carrying the burden. You can carry parts of it. You can agree who's going to own what else. I'll share another quick snippet for you. We have a client who was having 8 hours a day of care, a couple hours, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours at night. Had a bad situation, ended up in the hospital, came home with 24-hour care. The siblings were like, no, 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 we're going to take care of mom at night. And I said, that's great. So let's modify the care plan. We'll be there during the day for 12 hours. We'll help. And then remember, you have to be here or whoever's on the schedule at 8 o'clock because that's when our caregiver goes home. That's when our caregiver comes off of being responsible for mom. And you have to be here. And Marietta, I will tell you, that is one of the most challenging things a caregiver from a team member has to deal with because that family member has a life and they had great intentions, but they don't show up at 8 o'clock. Something happened to them. They're running late. And now we have to stay because that's a policy for me here that, if there's somebody coming in to take over because the client is not safe alone, you can't leave them until that happens. So when it's our own employee, obviously we manage it much better. And I'm very transparent with our clients and our caregivers. And I say, okay, so let's go down the list of tasks and activities that need to be managed through the night. And everybody has to agree that that can be done. Otherwise, we're leaving your parent, our client, at risk until we show up the next day. And I really think that helps family members realize that they can do it, but they also have to agree to do it. And some of that takes weeks and weeks of effort to have over because they don't want to relinquish, well, I'm their kid, I should be helping them, or their grandson or their granddaughter wants to stay with them. I'm like, yeah, that's great. But are they going to change grandma? Are they going to make sure that if she has to get up, she's going to transfer safely? Are they trained on those techniques and skills that they need? Or worst case scenario, what happens if something happens to grandma and now she falls, right? And now there's another level of guilt. So we do that for everybody. It's not an anomaly at Executive Home Care. It's exactly what we do. We help think through the activities and tasks on both levels, what we do as an agency and what family members do for themselves.
And Al, I have a good friend of mine. I've worked with him for 19 years on the radio. His name is Rich. And he has a mom. She's 99 years old, dementia, but she's still really in good shape mentally. And he takes her out, just about every day. They have another sibling, a sister, so they alternate days. And I learned from Rich in our conversations that they have a rhythm when she gets out of the car, what steps to take, or when she moves with her walker, what steps to take, and they have their routine. It's a learned routine. So because I couldn't understand what's involved. Well, okay, grandma gets up or grandpa gets up, so what? See, there is a lot so what behind that. And I learned that through our conversations with Rich.
Sure.
That the individual, yeah. So I wanted to mention that and not just overlook it. because I can understand that now, that those are almost like trained steps that they have with the professional or with the adult caretaker with the kids, adult kids. So, and then somebody comes in, yeah, okay, I'll take you over, and before you know, they fall, and who knows what else can happen. We
Well,
would
and I
have.
will say this, Marietta,
Mhm.
that is that conversation is exactly what is the reason agencies like ours exist, because that family member that wants to learn and do and can and is able will do. The issue becomes, how do they make sure that they can do it the way we do it without hurting somebody, hurting themselves? And that's the part that, with a little training, we can take care of it. We can give them the guidance, and then either they decide they can or they can't do it.
Yeah, that's right. There is a lot to it. I have many conversations with Rich,
And it's
and
okay. It's okay
yeah.
if you can't do it. It's okay. You don't,
Mhm. Mhm.
everybody has the right to try. And that's where we as an agency, and I say this with the utmost honesty, we don't come in and say, oh, that's more revenue to our agency. We come in and say, this is what we can do. If you need it, let us know. If you don't, that's great too. And we want you to be confident that you can do what needs to happen.
Right. We talked a lot about adult children today. What about mom or dad? How do they benefit from having professional care? We have about 3 minutes, 4 minutes left in our show.
They benefit
Yes.
because they have somebody helping them with their independence. They have someone doing tasks and activities that they can't do. And we take that burden away from them so that they are able to do what they can do, still feel independent, still feel like they've got control of their own life, and they are able to go on with life. There are so many scenarios that we go through every day where somebody feels like, well, I can't brush my teeth. I don't feel safe showering. I don't want to get dressed. I feel like I'm going to stumble. And guess what? Those are tasks, right? Once the task is done and it's done by one of our caregivers, they go on with their day. And if you think of it more from, I can't do this task, but I can get help doing it, I'm not incompetent. I'm not a failure. I'm not debilitating. I'm a person that has a limitation, and I'm getting somebody to help me do it.
Love it. Love it. If today's conversation sounded familiar, we hope you know you're not alone. Across our country, millions of adults' children are quietly caring for the people who once cared for them. Now, it's a journey filled with love, responsibility, sacrifice, and sometimes exhaustion. So remember, asking for help isn't giving up. It makes sure, it's making sure you have the strength to continue giving your very best to the people you love. Thank you for joining us for Inside Care today with Al Criscuolo. Al, thank you very much. It was a great
Thank you,
show
Mary.
today. A lot of insight. Oh my God. Al, and we just touched the surface. You know, we have so much more to talk about. So, Al, thank you for tonight, and we'll see you next time.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.